Hello, welcome back to the Mobile Motorbike Mechanic channel. I'm Steve. Today we're heading off to Coventry. Well, we're in Coventry. We're going to go and look at a Yamaha YBR 125. It's got a bit of a leaky engine, so it needs a few gaskets replacing. So we'll see you when we get there. Right folks, so slightly unusual area today. We're actually at the customer's work because he can't take a day off and we're mobile, so we come to you, which is all good. Right, so little YBR 125, and it appears that we've got a base gasket oil leak, so it's leaking oil out the bottom of the engine here. So we're going to have to take the cylinder head off, we're going to have to take the cylinder off, replace that gasket, replace the cylinder head gasket as well. Right, so we'll go into that now. So to get to the cylinder head, we're going to have to take off the fuel tank, both of the side panels and the seat. So that's just what we're doing at the moment. And another one. Unfortunately, that's just twisting. No, it's still twisting. If this is how this job's going to go, I'm not going to be very happy. So the problem is this well nut on the back of here is just spinning, it's rusted out, and we can't get anything on it to stop it spinning. There we go. There it is, you see? Stupid little thing. And it just pinched my hand and I'm not happy. Right. So, several tools just to get one little bolt out. So now we can get the seat off. Ah, there we go. Block of wood under there. Now we can get, hopefully, to what we need to get to. Right, that's those two undone. You should be able to get the tank off now. There we go. So now we're at the top of the engine with the fuel tank out of the way. We can get this mount out of the way, get the head off, then get the barrel off, and then get down to that gasket. So we'll start off by removing this engine mount here. Right, that's that one gone. Gonna have to take the exhaust off, the inlet manifold, and there's a couple of sensors and what have you that we need to unplug as well. So we'll pop those off. This has all got to come apart to allow this all to come out. The biggest challenge we're going to have is with these head bolts, or header bolts I should say. So that's going to be a bit of an issue because we ain't going to get that on there. And if I get a shorter version, I won't get in there. Right, so that's going to be a problem. Similarly there, I think that's going to be a bit of an issue as well. At least that one's coming out. That one's moving. We're gonna have enough room. Yeah, there we go. Cool. I think someone has definitely been here before us because everything's moving nicely. There doesn't seem that much corrosion on these threads. So hopefully that means good things. But we'll see. Right, so now we need to find where this exhaust is mounted because we're going to have to remove it from the head. So mounted back here. Is there any other mount on it? Doesn't look like it, so it's just that one there. Right, let me get a pot to put those in. Okay, with the exhaust gone, we can get onto the inlet side of things. So it's just that Allen head bolt there, and there's one around the back as well, but you can't see it. So we'll get those two undone, and then that should be everything off this head. I might just quickly whip the throttle body out of the way as well, just to give us a bit more room. So yeah, let me undo these two, and I'll have to go around the other side and get that unscrewed and done. Come on. Yeah. Right. Little insulator. Right. So that's us free of this side of the head. Everything free of that side of the head. So we can start to remove it. But before we do that, we've got to set the engine, just to make life easier for ourselves later on, we'll set the engine to TDC. So we need to go around the other side and do that. Right folks, so we need to set this engine to TDC. So what we'll do first off is we'll just pop this cam cover cap off. I think this is the one. I hope it is. Pretty sure this is the cam cover cap. Yeah, that's the one. Off you come, you bugger. Right. Okay, there you go. Cam cover cap off. So this is your cam sprocket, and as we can see, there's a timing mark there, and there's a little dimple on the cover there. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go and get my paint marker and I'm going to mark that spot, and I'm going to mark that, just so it's nice and easy to see. Right, so with a paint pen, I've just painted in that mark on the cam cover, on the cam there. See, if I wipe the excess off, it leaves a nice little mark. And on the cover, that's where our timing marks are. So now we need to remove this little cover here. Oh. And there's a little O-ring behind that as well. And then we'll get the bigger one off, which will allow us access to the end of the crank. Ooh, there's a rubber O-ring on that one as well. Right. So now what we can do, we've got access to the end of the crank. So it's quite big actually, 17. Yeah, there we go. Happy days. So now what we can do is we can turn over the engine, and as you can see, the cam's moving around nicely there. And what we want to do is we want to set it up so the marks line up. So now if we look in here, it's going to be difficult for you guys on the camera, but if we look in here, there'll be a timing mark and there'll be a corresponding like set of marks like that, and we've got to make sure that they're correct as well. But like I say, that's going to be difficult for you to see, but it's going to be pretty difficult for me to see as well. So I'm going to get a torch. This motor's got virtually no compression. Okay, so we can see that the mark on the wheel and the mark on the engine case there are both lined up, so we're good. Right, so with the crank set on its timing marks, what I've done is I've just taken the spark plug out this side, and with a small device, just gently into the spark plug hole, you can feel that the piston's at the top, so we know we're at top dead centre on the timing on the crank. However, if you look at the cam timing here, you'll notice we're 1 tooth out on the timing mark. So I don't know if somebody has been here before, but if you obviously draw a line straight down there, you can see that you're 1 tooth out. So we'll need to look at that when we come to put the motor back together again. But I think the timing's out by 1 tooth. But anyway, we'll carry on taking this one apart, and we'll come back, circle around and have a look at that in a bit. Right, cam chain tensioner first. So we need a 10mm on the back of the cam chain tensioner. And that just gives us access to the mechanism in the back of it. And now we need to remove it with these two 8mm bolts here. One there and one there. And there's one. And there's number 2. And you can see that the cam chain tensioner itself won't push back. So if you ever take one of these out, don't ever just bolt it back in again, because you'll snap the chain and do all sorts of damage. So this needs to be reset with a special key, which we have over in the back of the van. So we'll do that when we come to refit that. But yeah, if you ever take one of those out, don't ever just put it back in straight in there. Right, so now we've loosened off the cam retaining bolt. We can take that out. Again, word of warning, you don't ever want to drop that washer down that hole. If you do, you're in a world of pain. And now we can take the cam sprocket off and release the cam chain. Super fiddly job. There we go. Right, so now, unfortunately, we've kind of got to let this go. But you don't really want to let it go because it will jump off the teeth down the bottom of the crank. But you kind of got to let it go because you've got to get the head off. So it's just going to sit there for us for the time being. Where can it sit? Just sit there for us for the time being. There you go. Right, so now we're left with 4 bolts, 6 bolts, so we can take the head off. As you can see, this is your cam, and we're moving it around quite a lot. So that's why it's imperative to get that cam timing correct when you put it all back together again. There you go. Let me just grab a pot to stick these bits in, and then we've got 4 left. Right, so we've slackened off the 4 bolts for the cylinder head. We've taken 2 of them out, but the other 2 won't come out all the way because they actually hit the frame. So they're going to have to come out with the cylinder head. So if we break the cylinder head free, now you'll see that the cam chain's trying to drop out on us. So we'll just pull that out the back here. I'm just going to slide a screwdriver through there just to keep him happy. And now we can start to try and get this cylinder head out. There we go, that's 1, 2. And this is where you need a little bit of jiggery pokery in about 16 hands. And there you go, 1 cylinder head off. So we're going to pop him nice and careful, put him on the back of the van, and then we can get down to getting the barrel removed. So I was just going to remove the cam chain guide, and the bottom one should be attached. Yep, that's attached inside the engine. This is the head gasket, so we'll get rid of that as well because we've got a new one of them to fit. We've got a couple of dowels here, so just make sure that they're not going to disappear on you. And then when we pull this up, we're going to use the old screwdriver trick again through the cam chain to make sure he's all happy. Now the other thing is, when we pull this up, the piston rings are going to fire out. They shouldn't disappear on you, but let's just see. There we go, that's broken it loose. So it's a bit awkward, to say the least, but there we go. So there's my screwdriver, I'll pop him in there, and there's your cylinder gone. Now I've just got a little dribble of oil coming out of it there, so I want to catch that before it drops on the floor. And pop that on the floor there. Right, so anyway, that's your cylinder, and as you can see, this is your base gasket, and this is where we've got our leak. Quite a substantial leak. So we'll get that gasket gone because it's doing bugger all, and we'll clean up the face, get our new gaskets fitted, and we can start getting this one back together again. Just whilst we're here, I'm going to take the time to clean the engine off and make sure that we get a good seal on this base gasket. So like I say, we'll take the time to give it a good clean and get all the oil off, and we'll also get a nice mating surface for the gasket here. So I'll just get a bit of Scotch pad and we can go across here and just clean all this up. But seeing as we don't want anything to drop in the motor, we'll pop a rag in there. That's the mating surface all cleaned up. We took the dowels out just so we can get a bit of Scotch Brite onto it and give it a clean, and we've gently gone over with a blade just to take any big lumps of gasket material off. We've done the cam chain tensioner face as well, and we've done the head gasket surface. So we've just gone over, like I say, with the Scotch Brite to clean it all up. So that is looking nice and clean. So we're ready to begin reassembly now. So the first thing we want to do, let's put that down. First thing we want to do is we want to get our base gasket. Now we've reset our dowels in the engine block here. So we just need to pop our base gasket in, whichever way around it is. I think it's that way around. So we'll get onto that, making sure we don't drop this bloody cam chain down the tunnel. There he is. That's looking all nice in there. Just put our screwdriver back in. Yeah. Oh yeah, and we cleaned up that face as well before we refitted everything. Right, so now we're going to fit the cylinder. Slightly awkward getting the cam chain in the cam chain tunnel and getting the piston in and getting the ring set. But anyway, let's get on with it. So, right, so that's that in. Just going to go grab a pick so I can flick the cam chain through the tunnel. So here's a little pick just to get the cam chain up. This is where it gets super fiddly. Lots of patience, a bit of swearing. There he is. We've got a problem. Right, so that chain has come off. Oh, sprocket, there he is. He's back on now. No, he's not. This is what we were worried about. because if your chain comes off your sprocket, you can have all sorts of fun and games. You'll be here for days trying to get this back on. There we go. No, that's not it. That's the barrel in place. So now we pop the other cam chain finger in, or runner, or slider, or whatever you want to call it, and then we need to put our head gasket in. So here's our new replacement head gasket. And it goes that way around. So what we want to do, a couple of little dowels, pop those in. And then we're going to pop our head gasket on. And now we're ready to pop the head on, which is a bit of a mission. Cleaned off the head surface on the cylinder head, so we're going to go for a fit. This is where it gets really awkward because of getting this cam chain into this hole, because you've got to go up through there, then out here on an angle. So we'll see how we go. And before we go any further, we've got to put the bolts in. So we need to refit the long bolts with new copper washers. And yes, this is starting to pinch my hand and hurt. But there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to put up with it. And hope and pray that hasn't come off the bottom sprocket, which it hasn't, which is good. Right, so that's 2 in, and we've got 2 to go. Just giving it a little rock as we go down, just to make sure we're seated keep an eye on everything to make sure we haven't moved the gasket. It doesn't appear to be we've got any issues. $12mm. Okay, so it was all looking good, gaskets are in and what have you, so we're just going to torque these head bolts down. So yeah, we do own a torque wrench, so we'll just torque these ones down in a crisscross pattern until we're at the right torque, which is 22 Newton meters, I believe. So with the 4 main bolts done, we've just got to do these 2 on the side. Come back and we'll tighten those 2 up in a minute, because what I really want to do is get this cam sprocket on. Now, because we've been buggering about, as you take the barrel off, the piston's moved and the crank's moved, so more than likely our timing marks down here are completely way out, so I can't put the cam sprocket on and time it up without first double checking to make sure that our timing marks are correct here. So I'll get the torch out and have a look. And yep, they're miles out. Right, so after much buggering about, we've got the cam sprocket back on again. So what we need to do is we need to fit the cam chain tensioner. Now, we've said about fitting these, you never fit them unless they're reset, because it will just snap the cam chain. So if you go in the back of it with a little screwdriver, some of them have a bolt and a spring, and then you got like a ratchet and you reset it, put it in and then put the spring back in again. But these ones, in the back there's like a little flathead, and what you've got to do is you've got to wind it in, so that's it reset. But obviously as soon as you go to put that back in again, it's just going to fire out. So you need a key. So what we can do is we'll reset the tensioner, and then with the key we line up, and the key should, hopefully, he says, there we go, that's it, locked in the back of the tensioner, and then when you're ready to pull, you just pull it out and it fires out, sets your tension. So we're going to do that now. So we'll get that tensioner set up. There it is. There we go. Right. So a nice new gasket on there as well. And then on the bolts, we've got a couple of replacement copper washers to go on. That's that one, that's that one. Come on. Now, unfortunately, until you do all this, you can't really say, yes, your cam timing is correct. Because until you do all this, your cam chain's not in the right place, and so you might have a bit of lash in the system. So, like I say, we'll get this set up. Oh no, I need late milk. There we go. There he is. So we want to tighten these ones down properly. Because any adjustment on those afterwards will adjust the cam chain tension. Now, if we look at the cam chain at the moment, you see it's slack in there. So once we pull the pin, we heard that click, and that cam chain's gone tight now. So all we're going to do is check the timing. Right, so we're on our timing mark. And we're on our timing mark in there. We're good. So we want to do a couple of revolutions. There we go, that's coming up on our timing mark, it's about there. And yep, we're bang on there. So I'm happy that that motor is timed up correctly. Plus the other thing is, as you're turning it over, it's not getting to a tight spot where it can't turn. You can feel the compression on it, but it's not, you know, the valves aren't hitting the piston or anything like that. It's not locking up and then not working. So I'm quite happy that that motor is timed up correctly. Right, we'll get everything tightened up and then we can go for a start. Let's fit the new seals on all of the parts. And that will go in there. There we go. Right, that's that done. Right, let's reassemble this with some copper slip on the threads so they're easy to come out next time. Just zip this one in because he was just a placeholder whilst we got the copper slip. Lovely. That's it. And a little tube. That's it, done. Right. So we've got everything back together again, spark plug in, inlet manifold on, top mount's all done up, exhaust's done. So all we'll do now is obviously the bike won't start, but we'll just turn it over on the starter motor to make sure that we're still all happy and there's no horrible noises or anything like that. Right, we're just going to, like I say, just turn it over on the starter motor just to see. We shouldn't get any horrible noises. No horrible noises there. So we can now carry on, fit the tank, get everything back together again, and that should be this one done. Oh yeah, that's right, that goes down there, doesn't it? Just checking the fuel connector and make sure when it's under pressure it's not going to leak out, which it isn't. So let's see if we can start this one up then. And there we have it, running lovely. Yeah. Right folks, so that's this one all back together again. Don't appear to be having any leaks. Like I say, she's on the button, fires straight up, runs lovely, revving right through. So we'll call this one done. So remember to like, comment and subscribe. We do appreciate all the subscribers. We do read the comments, and we try to reply to as many as we can. So yeah, please do leave a comment, please give us a thumbs up, and please do subscribe, and we'll see you again on the next video.